Welcome to Elderly Wisdom, where age is celebrated, not feared. Here, we uncover stories, habits, and insights that help you thrive in your golden years. Whether you're 60, 70, or 90, this is your time to shine. Subscribe and let's explore how wisdom only gets stronger with age ***. Let's get something clear right now, because it needs to be said, and it needs to be said boldly. You are not too old to begin again. You are not too old to grow, to rise, to rediscover who you are. Absolutely not too old to create something brand new with the years you have left. Well, live in a world that loves youth, that celebrates fast starts, that puts pressure on people to accomplish everything. By a certain age, a graduate; by 20 to start a family; by 30 retire; by 60 and then fade into the background. That message is everywhere. But let me tell you something important. It is wrong. It is wrong, because the truth is that some of the most extraordinary chapters of your life may not even have started. Yet they may be sitting quietly just beneath the surface, waiting for you to say yes. You might have been so busy caring for others, raising children, working hard, showing up for responsibilities that you never gave yourself full permission to ask what you want. But now you can. Now is your time, and if you ever needed proof, just look at the women who refused to listen to the lie that it was too late for them. Look at Tao Porchin Lynch. At 93 years old, she became the world's oldest certified yoga teacher, and that's not a title she picked up for fun. She earned it. Showed up every morning with energy that would put a 30-year-old to shame. Her voice was calm, her movements graceful, but her presence was commanding. She taught yoga until she was 101. Let that sink in. While many people her age were being told to slow down or step aside, Tao was stepping into studios, onto television screens, and into the hearts of people around the world. She proved something very simple and very powerful. Your body may age, but your spirit is timeless. Your joints may stiffen, but your soul can still stretch wide open. She didn't see age as a limitation, she saw it as a platform. Her life said this clearly and loudly: if I can begin again in my 90s, so can you. But Tao is not the only one. Let's talk about May Louise Zaidman. She spent much of her life as a wife, a mother, a caregiver. She had stories inside her for years, but never thought she was a writer. She never had the time or the confidence, or maybe just the right moment to begin, until one day in her mid-70s, she picked up a pen. She didn't know what would happen. She didn't know if anyone would read her words, but she wrote anyway. And guess what? Her stories didn't just make it to paper, they made it to people. She became a published author at an age when some are told to give up their dreams. She didn't care about the odds. She didn't care that others her age were being told to rest. She woke up every day with something new to say, and she proved that it's never too late to make your voice heard. Think about this: if May had listened to the doubts, to the fear, to the voice that said no one will care, she never would have started. But she didn't listen. She made the choice to create, not because she was guaranteed success, but because it was finally time to do something for herself. How many dreams are still sitting inside of you? How many passions have you put on a shelf because life got busy, or you were told it was too late? This is not the end of your journey. This is not your time to shrink or disappear. This is your season to rescind. It doesn't need to be something public or grand. Maybe you want to write or paint or travel. Maybe you want to learn to swim or start a small garden or go back to school. Maybe you want to dance again or volunteer or take up photography or finally learn to play the piano. Whatever it is, this world has not run out of space for your dreams. There is still room for your reinvention, and you do not need permission from anyone but yourself. You may be retired from work, but you are not retired from life. You may be older in years, but your passion, your creativity, and your curiosity are still alive. They are not gone. They are waiting. So let me ask you a simple question: what would you do if you believed your age was not a barrier, but a strength? What would change if you saw your years not as a countdown, but as a foundation? Because the truth is, the you are not starting over from scratch. You are starting with experience, with resilience, with wisdom, and with heart. You are beginning again with everything you have learned, with every lesson, every heartbreak, every victory, every quiet moment of courage that brought you here. Do not underestimate that society may glorify youth, but it often overlooks something much more valuable. You have that in abundance. There is a richness in you that only time can create, and that richness is your power. Tao used it, May Louise used it, and so can you. Let this be the moment you stop asking if it's too late. Let this be the moment you start asking, what do I want now? Because This life is not done with the other, are still experiences waiting, still people to meet, still beauty to create, still wonder to feel, still love to give, and joy to receive. And here's the most important part. You don't have to change the world, you just have to change your world. That might mean trying something new, that might mean doing something that scares you a little, that might mean walking into a room where you feel unsure, but going anyway. And you are allowed to begin slowly, you are allowed to fail, you are allowed to be imperfect, but you are not allowed to give up on yourself now, not when you've come this far. You have already lived through decades of change, challenges, and growth. You are stronger than you think, more capable than you know, and braver than you remember. So here's what I want you to carry with you. This chapter is yours to write, not your children's, not society's, not anyone else's. Yusuf Tao could teach yoga at 93. If May Louise could publish her first book at 75, what can you do today? Not someday. Today, pick up the brush or the phone or the book or the journal or the courage. Begin messy, begin unsure, begin with shaking hands if you must, but begin because you're not too old, you're right on time. Asterisk, asterisk, let me take you deeper into the lives of women who didn't settle for invisibility, who didn't let their age define their joy, their beauty, or their patenti albicus. While the world often forgets women after a certain age, these women reminded us all that elegance, power, creativity, and strength do not have an expiration date. Take a moment and meet Dory Jacobson. She was once a Playboy bunny in her younger years, but that's not what makes her story remarkable. What makes it powerful is that she decided to step back into the spotlight, not in her 20s, but in her 80s. Became a fashion influencer on social medias, and her 80s started posting photos of herself in bold outfits, red lipstick, stylish heels, and confidence that radiated from every angle, and people noticed. Asterisk. Her account grew quickly, not because she was trying to chase trends, but because she was boldly herself. She did not conform to what society expects from older women. She redefined what elegance and visibility look like in your later years. Said, with every post, I am still here, I am still vibrant, I am still worthy of attention. Her message is one the world desperately needs to her. Just because you have gray hair or wrinkles does not mean you disappear. Just because you are older does not mean you are invisible. You are not invisible. Your presence, your voice, your style, your story, they still matter, and they always will. Know. Let's move to a story that will stretch your beliefs about what your body can do regardless of age. Ernestine Shepherd is a name you will never forget once you hear her story. She didn't start bodybuilding until she was 71 years old. You read that right, 71. While many people were slowing down and sitting back, she decided to become the oldest female competitive bodybuilder in the world. She woke up at 4 every morning. She ran miles, she lifted weights, and she built a body so strong it made people stop and stare. But her body was not the only thing that changed her confidence, her energy. Her mindset shifted into something unshakable. She proved something deeply important. Your body will respond to love and discipline. No matter how old you are, you are not stuck with weakness or pain or fatigue. You have the power to train your body to rise again. Ernestine could have believed she was too old to get in shape, too old to compete, too old to start something new, but she didn't believe that. She believed in possibility, and that belief gave her a new identity, a new community, and a new mission. And you can do the same, maybe not in a gym, maybe not on a stage, but in your own way. You can choose strength over surrender. You can choose movement over stillness. You can choose vitality over limitation. Oh, let me introduce you to another woman who created a masterpiece of a life simply by following a quiet calling. Donna Mary Robertson Moses, known lovingly as Grandma Moses, started painting in her 70s. For that, she spent her life as a farmer's wife, raising children and working hard. She didn't go to art school. She didn't grow up with paints or brushes, but after arthritis made embroidery difficult, she picked up a paintbrush and began to create. And what began as a simple way to pass time turned into a global legacy. Her work now hangs in museums around the world. She became one of the most beloved folk artists in history. And she started when many others were slowing down. She turned her pain into art, her quiet into beauty, and her late beginning into something eternal. Grandma Moses shows us that creativity doesn't come with a deadline, it comes with desire. And you can start creating at any moment when your heart says no. She once said, life is what we make. It always has been, always will be. That truth echoes louder the older we get, because by the time we reach 70, 80, 90, we know what matters We've let go of other people's opinions, we've faced loss, we've tasted joy, we've lived through storms and sunshine, and that wisdom makes us better artists, better storytellers, better leaders, better creators of our own lives. If you've ever held back because you thought it was too late to begin, take this to heart: it's not too late. You are not too far gone, you are not behind, you are seasoned, you are ripened, you are ready. These women were not handed easy paths, they each faced their own doubts, losses, and limitations, but they made a decision that changed everything. They decided to stop waiting for permission, they decided to act on the dream, the whisper, the spark that had been waiting inside the man. That single choice opened new doors, new confidence, new joy. So what about you? What is your next act? What would your life look like if you trusted that the best is yet to come? Because it can bite truly. Can, baby, you must be the one to say yes, you must be the one to step forward. And maybe you are not looking to be on stage or in a gallery or in a headline. If that's okay, your reinvention is not about fame, it's about fulfillment, it's about becoming who you've always wanted to be. Maybe you want to go back to school or learn to speak a new language. Maybe you want to move to a smaller town, a sunnier place, or closer to the sea. Maybe you want to reconnect with old friends, or finally write the memoir, or open a little shop, or plant a new garden. Whatever it is not silly, it is not selfish, it is not too late, because this season of life is just as full of promise as any that came before it, possibly more, because now you are living for it, for validation, not for approval, just for the pure joy of becoming. And here is something beautiful to remember: invention doesn't mean becoming someone else, it means becoming more of who you really are. It means letting go of what no longer serves you and leaning into what lights you up. It means allowing yourself to be bold, honest, visible, curious, loving, and fully alive. You may have thought your big moments were behind you, but maybe they are still ahead. You may have thought your purpose was fulfilled, but maybe there is still something calling your name. These women heard that call, Tao heard it, May heard it, Dory heard it, Ernestine heard it, Anna heard it, and you can hear it too if you quiet the noise and listen to the truth inside your soul. Truth that seems still, hooray, still materi, still have something to give, something to create, something to become. That voice is not wrong, it is the truest part of Yawan. It is ready, so rise into this chapter with courage, with hope, with purpose, because the world still needs what only you can offer, and your story is far from over. These 5 women didn't have magic, they had courage, curiosity, and one belief: it's not too late. So what's stopping you? That business idea, that book, that class, that dream, it's still waiting. And so is the best version of you. If this moved you, share it with someone who needs a reminder that life doesn't stop at 70, it starts again. Subscribe to Elderly Wisdom for more stories that light the fire in your later years, because your second act could be your best yet.